Well, thank you. Let me just add my welcome to that of Dean's. We hope today results in you gaining a better understanding of the importance of these free trade agreements, why we as 5% of the world's population have to go sell to the other 95%, and why that has benefits for the overall economy. I hope you know that TechAmerica represents some 1,200 companies across the United States in the high-tech space, and that's every flavor of tech that you can think about: semiconductor, services, software, telecom equipment, providers, internet service providers, and others. One thing that unites all of them is their support of these free trade agreements, whether large or small, regardless of where you are in the overall tech space. Some statistics from our competitiveness report, which I think you saw as a handout. First on Colombia, some 9,400 American jobs directly connected there for U.S. tech exports. In Panama, almost 3,000 jobs, and a trade surplus in tech exports to both those countries. These markets are growing faster. We have a positive relationship there, and the FTAs will allow us to build that. Then there's Korea, our sixth largest trading partner for high-tech. The FTA there will end the remaining tariffs on high-tech goods that are not part of the ITA, the Information Technology Agreement, and strengthen our IP protection, among other benefits. Importantly, you should know too that this particular agreement affects government procurement. So when the Korean government buys technology, we have some of the leading companies here in the U.S. in the entire world who sell technology and integrate technology for government services. So we stand to benefit significantly there as well. And while we currently have a trade deficit with Korea, the FTA is just what the doctor ordered, allowing us to address that. As I mentioned, TechAmerica has a number of small companies, and they aren't the kinds who necessarily are going to have offices here in Washington, D.C., and then therefore can present to you today. So a couple of data points for you there. First of all, about 94% of companies exporting high-tech goods and services are small and medium-sized businesses. Of course, that stands to reason. I want to give you just a couple of examples. So think of Intest, a company that sells measurement services really to the semiconductor industry. So they're headquartered in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They only have $46 million in revenue, but 62% of that comes from trade. While they manufacture in 3 states here in the U.S., they are exporting telecommunications equipment, their test equipment, to these markets in Latin America and to Asia. Then there's Tellular. Tellular is based in the Chicago area. They are machine-to-machine technology using cellular technology. Only 100 employees, but their fastest growing business, exports, now about 8% and growing. So these are just 2 examples of small companies who you probably aren't going to see here at congressional briefings, but who stand to benefit, part of that 94% that really can grow. So the bottom line really, I think, is that markets in Asia and Latin America are growing faster than our market. They have been at least relatively less impacted by the financial markets problems that we've seen here. And for us to prosper as a country, for us to meet the goals the President has laid out about doubling our exports, we simply have to move to finalize these agreements and get to where that 5% can sell to the 95%. So thank you for being here, and you're about to hear a really rich panel discussion here. It's going to be kicked off by Chris Padilla of IBM. And if you don't know, you should know that Chris is what you might call a certifiable expert. Among his he's certainly certifiable.
I can attest to that.
His past postings include things like the Undersecretary of International Trade Bureau, Department of Commerce, Assistant Secretary, Department of Commerce for Export Administration, Chief of Staff to the Deputy Secretary of State, private sector postings at Lucent, AT&T, Kodak, and now Vice President of Government Programs for IBM. Chris?